Alumni Conversations are a series of talks by the former students of Dayapuram who have achieved greater heights in their career or profession. Through alumni conversations, the students get an opportunity to interact and get motivated to choose their right path. May I call upon Nada Bashir of grade 12th to officially welcome the gathering.
Our patron, CT Sir, Principal, Jyoti Ma'am, teachers, guest of the day, and of course, my dear friends, a very good morning to each one of you. The aim of Alumni Conversation is to acknowledge those Dayapurites who have left a mark in various fields and also to provide inspiration for us. Now, how many of you here have a sweet tooth? You know, that strong urge to have something sweet every now and then. But let's be honest, that feeling is often followed by the fear of gaining weight, or for some people, getting diabetes even. While the lockdown period in 2020 was a never-ending loop of Dalgona coffee and other easy recipes for the rest of us, two brothers were busy recreating sweets and desserts which are 100% sugar-free. Yes, you heard that right. Chocolates, cakes, pastries, jams, cookies, milkshakes, all 100% sugar-free. It all started when Javed and Kadir, one of the two brothers I mentioned earlier, was diagnosed as a diabetic at the age of 30. He had a strong sweet tooth and found it difficult to go about his day without having his daily dose of sweets. Moreover, he could not find many sugar-free options, and so he decided to take matters into his own hands. Inspiring, isn't it? It is my pleasure to welcome Mr. Javed M. Kadir, the founder of Zyuga Foods, India's first exclusive sugar-free chain of cafes. He was a part of 1999 +2 batch of Dayapuram Residential School. He has done mechanical engineering from NIT Calicut and MBA from IIM Bangalore. Sir, we are incredibly honored to have you with us today, and we look forward to having a great session with you. Thank you.
Thank you, Nada. Now, let me invite our dear patron to speak a few words.
ഇതൊരു പ്രത്യേക അനുഭവമാണ് എന്നെ സംബന്ധിച്ചിടത്തോളം. ജാവേദ് 1ാം ക്ലാസ്സിൽ ദയാപുരത്ത് ചേരുകയും 12ാം ക്ലാസ് പൂർത്തിയാക്കുകയും അതിനുശേഷം അറിവിൻ്റെ ലോകം വെട്ടിപ്പിടിക്കുകയും ചെയ്ത നിങ്ങളുടെ ജ്യേഷ്ഠനാണ്. ഞാൻ മുഖവരൊന്നും ഇല്ലാതെ പറയാണ്. ഒരു കുടുംബത്തിലേക്ക് ഒരു ജ്യേഷ്ഠൻ വന്ന് കയറുമ്പോൾ, അതും വളരെ പ്രശസ്തമായ രീതിയിൽ രംഗത്ത് പ്രവർത്തിക്കുന്ന പല ലക്ഷ്യങ്ങളും വെട്ടിപ്പിടിച്ച യോഗ്യനായ ഒരു ജ്യേഷ്ഠൻ, മാതൃകാ പുരുഷൻ എന്ന രീതിയിൽ കുടുംബത്തിലേക്ക് വന്നെത്തുമ്പോൾ ആ കുടുംബത്തിൽ എത്രമാത്രം അത് സന്തോഷകരമാണ്. ആ സന്തോഷത്തിൻ്റെ അനുഭവമാണ് നമ്മളൊക്കെ ഇവിടെ പങ്കിടുന്നത്. ഇവിടെ നടന്ന ഒരുപാട് ഇത്തരം സംഭവങ്ങളുണ്ട്, ഇത്തരം പരിപാടികളുണ്ട്. അതിൽ നിന്നൊക്കെ പൂർണ്ണമായും വ്യത്യസ്തമായിട്ടുള്ള ഒന്നാണ് ഈ പരിപാടി എന്ന് തിരിച്ചറിയുന്ന വിധത്തിലാണ് നിങ്ങൾക്ക് പരിചയമില്ലെങ്കിലും ഈ കുടുംബത്തിലെ ഏറ്റവും വലിയൊരു അംഗമാണ് എന്ന ബോധത്തിന്റെ അടിസ്ഥാനത്തിൽ നിങ്ങളുടെ മുഖത്തും നിങ്ങളുടെ പ്രകടനങ്ങളിലും ഒക്കെ പ്രത്യേകത കാണുന്നത് തീർച്ചയായും വളരെ വളരെ സന്തോഷം നൽകുന്ന ഒരു അനുഭവമാണ്. പരിപാടികൾ ഒരുപാട് ഈ ക്യാമ്പസിലും ഈ നമ്മളെ ഹാളിലും നടന്നിട്ടുണ്ട്. തീർത്തും വ്യത്യസ്തമായ ഒന്നാണ്, പുതുമയുള്ള ഒന്നാണ്. എങ്ങനെയാണ് ഒരാൾ തൻ്റെ കുടുംബത്തോട് ബന്ധം പുലർത്തേണ്ടതെന്നും എങ്ങനെയാണ് ആ കുടുംബത്തിന് മാതൃകയായി ജീവിതത്തിൻ്റെ പല തലങ്ങളിൽ വിജയം വരിക്കേണ്ടതെന്നും മാതൃകാപരമായ ആ സ്നേഹബന്ധം തൻ്റെ ഇളം തലമുറയിലേക്ക് എങ്ങനെയാണ് പകരേണ്ടതെന്നും കാണിച്ചു തരുന്ന, പ്രത്യക്ഷത്തിൽ തന്നെ നിങ്ങൾക്ക് കാണാൻ കഴിയുന്ന ഒരു മാതൃകയാണ് ഇന്നിപ്പോൾ ഇവിടെ നടക്കുന്നത്. അതിൻ്റെ മുന്നിൽ നിൽക്കുന്നത് ജാവേദ് എന്ന വ്യക്തിത്വമാണ്. വ്യക്തി എന്നതിനേക്കാൾ ഏറെ ആ വ്യക്തിത്വമാണ്. വെറും വാക്കുകളല്ല, വെറുതെ പറയുന്ന വാക്കുകൾക്ക് അർത്ഥക്ഷയം സംഭവിച്ച ഒരു കാലഘട്ടത്തിൽ നമ്മൾ അനാവശ്യമായി വാക്കുകൾ പ്രയോഗിക്കുന്ന ഒരനുഭവം അല്ല ഇന്നുള്ളത്. ഹൃദയത്തിൽ നിന്ന് വരുന്ന വാക്കുകളാണ്. നിങ്ങളുടെ കയ്യടിയിലും നിങ്ങളുടെ മുഖഭാവത്തിലൊക്കെ എനിക്ക് അങ്ങനെ കാണാൻ കഴിയുന്നു. അത് ഈ സന്ദർഭത്തിൻ്റെ ഒരു പ്രത്യേകതയാണ്. എങ്ങനെയാണ് നിങ്ങൾ പഠിക്കേണ്ടത് എന്നതും നിങ്ങൾ എങ്ങനെയാണ് മുന്നോട്ട് പോകേണ്ടത് എന്നതും ഒരാളുടെ അനുഭവത്തിൽ നിന്ന് നിങ്ങൾക്ക് മനസ്സിലാകുമ്പോൾ, നിങ്ങൾ വ്യത്യസ്ത പ്രകൃതമുള്ള വ്യത്യസ്തമായ ആശയതലങ്ങളിലൂടെ വളരാൻ ചാനലുകൾ വ്യത്യസ്തമാകുമ്പോൾ തന്നെ നിങ്ങളുടെ ഒന്നിച്ചുള്ള ഒരു കാഴ്ചപ്പാടുണ്ടാവാൻ സഹായകമായ വിധത്തിൽ അനുഭവം കൊണ്ട് സാക്ഷ്യപ്പെടുത്തിയ ഒരു യൗവനമാണ് ഇന്ന് ജാവേദ് നിങ്ങളുടെ മുമ്പിൽ അവതരിപ്പിക്കുന്നത്, അല്ലെങ്കിൽ ജാവേദ് എന്ന വ്യക്തിത്വത്തിലൂടെ നിങ്ങൾക്ക് മനസ്സിലാക്കാൻ കഴിയുന്നത്. നമ്മൾ ദയാപുരത്തിൻ്റെ പ്രത്യേകത കുറച്ചൊക്കെ ഇപ്പോൾ ഞങ്ങൾ സംസാരിച്ചുകൊണ്ടിരുന്നു. അതിൻ്റെ പ്രത്യേകത മനുഷ്യത്വമാണ്, സ്നേഹമാണ്, സൗഹൃദമാണ്, ഒപ്പം തന്നെ ജീവിതത്തിൽ വിജയം വരിക്കാനുള്ള കഴിവുമാണ്, ആർജവവുമാണ് എന്നാണ് ചുരുക്കി പറഞ്ഞാൽ. വിദ്യാഭ്യാസ സ്ഥാപനങ്ങൾ രണ്ടായിട്ട് നിങ്ങൾക്ക് കാണാം, കച്ചവട സ്ഥാപനങ്ങളായിട്ട് കാണാം. അതാണ് 99%. അതിൽ നിന്ന് വ്യത്യസ്തമായി വിദ്യാർത്ഥികളിൽ, തലമുറകളിൽ എങ്ങനെയൊക്കെ നമുക്ക് ഈ നഷ്ടപ്പെട്ടു പോകുന്ന മൂല്യബോധവും നഷ്ടപ്പെട്ടു പോകുന്ന വിദ്യാഭ്യാസ സംസ്കാരം വീണ്ടെടുക്കാൻ എങ്ങനെയൊക്കെയാണ് നമുക്ക് പ്രവർത്തിക്കേണ്ടത് എന്നതൊക്കെ വളരെ ആലോചനാ വിഷയമായ ആവേണ്ട ഒരു കാലഘട്ടമാണ്. പക്ഷേ ഈ കാലഘട്ടത്തിൽ അങ്ങനെയുള്ള ആലോചനകൾ വളരെ ചുരുക്കമാണ്. അപ്പോൾ സ്വാഭാവികമായും നിങ്ങളുടെ മുമ്പാകെ ഒരു മാതൃകയായി നിങ്ങൾക്ക് അദ്ദേഹത്തിൻ്റെ അനുഭവം പകർന്നു തരുമ്പോൾ അത് നിങ്ങളുടെ ദയാപരവുമായി ബന്ധത്തിൽ തന്നെ ഉണ്ടാവേണ്ട ഒരു ആത്മീയമായ ഒരു വശം, ഒരു ആത്മാവിൻ്റെ വശം, ആത്മാവിനെ ഉണർത്തുന്ന ഒരു വശം അതിൽ നിങ്ങൾക്ക് കാണാൻ കഴിയും. അത് നിങ്ങളെ ശക്തിപ്പെടുത്തും എന്നാണ് ഞാൻ വിശ്വസിക്കുന്നത്. അതുകൊണ്ട് അവസരം ദീർഘിപ്പിക്കുന്നില്ല. ഈ കാലഘട്ടത്തിൽ ഇങ്ങനെ ദയാപുരം നിലനിൽക്കണമെങ്കിൽ വിദ്യാർത്ഥികൾ എങ്ങനെ പെരുമാറണം, ദയാപുരത്തിൻ്റെ ഗുണകാംക്ഷികളായ രക്ഷിതാക്കൾ എങ്ങനെ പെരുമാറണം, ദയാപുരത്തിൽ നിന്ന് ഇവിടെ വർക്ക് ചെയ്യുന്ന അധ്യാപകന്മാരും ഗുരുക്കന്മാരും ഏത് രീതിയിൽ ആയിരിക്കണം അവരുടെ മാനസിക സംസ്കാരം തലമുറകളിലേക്ക് പകരുമ്പോൾ ഈ വാർദ്ധക്യം വന്നുകൊണ്ടിരിക്കുന്ന ആളുകൾ ഈ രംഗത്തു നിന്നും പിൻവാങ്ങുന്നതിനനുസരിച്ച് പുതിയ തലമുറ ഇത് ഏറ്റെടുക്കേണ്ടത് എങ്ങനെയാണ് എന്നൊക്കെയുള്ള സങ്കല്പങ്ങളുടെ ഒരു ലോകത്താണ് ഞാൻ ജീവിക്കുന്നത്. തീർച്ചയായും ഈ സങ്കല്പം നിങ്ങളുടെ ജീവിതത്തിലൂടെ സാക്ഷാത്കരിക്കപ്പെടും എന്നതിൻ്റെ പ്രഥമമായ ആദ്യത്തേത് എന്ന് തന്നെ പറയാം. നമ്മുടെ ക്യാമ്പസിൽ നടക്കുന്ന ആദ്യത്തെ ഒരു മാതൃകയാണ് ഈ ജാവേദ് എന്ന 1ാം ക്ലാസ്സുകാരൻ്റെ വളർച്ച ഇന്ന് നിങ്ങൾ കാണുന്ന രീതിയിൽ ഒക്കെ എത്തിയിരുന്നു. അത് നിങ്ങൾക്ക് പാഠമാവട്ടെ, നിങ്ങൾക്ക് അതിൽ നിന്ന് ഒരുപാട് ഉൾക്കൊള്ളാൻ കഴിയട്ടെ. ജാവേദിൻ്റെ ഈ സന്മനസ്സിന് നമുക്കെല്ലാവർക്കും നന്ദി പറയാം. വളരെ കൃതജ്ഞതയോടെ നമുക്ക് ഓർക്കാം. പ്രാർത്ഥനയോടുകൂടി നമുക്ക് ഈ പരിപാടി തുടങ്ങുകയും അതിന് മധ്യത്തിലൂടെ പോവുകയും നമ്മുടെ ജീവിതം തന്നെ പ്രാർത്ഥന ആയി മാറുകയും ചെയ്യുന്ന വിധത്തിൽ പ്രചോദനം ഉണ്ടാവട്ടെ എന്ന ആശംസയോടുകൂടി നിർത്തുന്നു.
Thank you, sir, for your sincere and powerful words. Today, we feel immense pleasure to have a person who caters and cares on the well-being of people irrespective of their age. Mr. Javed M. Kadir, the founder of Zugar Foods, who believes that sweetness of life never ends. Dear students, we are about to listen to the person who preaches, eat less sugar, you are sweet enough already.
Good morning. It's a lot of nostalgia standing here, coming back to school, talking to some old faces, but a lot of new faces. And trust me, I'm already impressed. I didn't expect you to do that much of research about me or the company, so very, very impressed. Today's talk is about entrepreneurship. I don't claim to be a successful entrepreneur. I've just started. But I can actually share some of the thoughts on what entrepreneurship means in the current era and how some of you can think of this as a career option at some point of time in your life, right? So the idea is not to talk a lot about my success, which may not even be fully there, but talk to you about my experiences. And if some of you have an interest in starting something on your own, share some thoughts, share some experiences from my life, which may or may not help you. I hope it helps. Let's see. So first of all, thank you for coming here. It's a Wednesday midweek morning session. I don't know, 11 o'clock is that nice sweet spot where you can come to a speech. When I was a student, we used to have such speeches. I was very happy. You can get one period off. No more maths, no science. You come here, I used to find some space somewhere in the middle, and you chit chat or you sleep, but do it in a way that nobody can see you, right? Sometimes it was difficult because I was the tallest boy in class. So when somebody stands here, people can see me. So it was difficult to sleep. So I hope you guys are not, or at least some of you are not sleepy. And I hope I can provide some value beyond helping you avoid 1 or 2 classes, right? That said, I will just, if you can play that PPT, I'll just give you a glimpse of what my career has been so far. Very happy that first slide. Very happy to, if you have any questions beyond entrepreneurship, which caters to my career, happy to do it. Next page. So this is pretty much my life in a nice map for you. I did my 10th and 12th here in Dayapuram. I finished my 12th in 1999. Yeah, so I'm closer to your dad's age than your age. So from Dayapuram, I just crossed next door, crossed the road and went to NIT Calicut. I did my mechanical engineering in NIT Calicut, completed my engineering in 2003. Then I worked with a company called L&T, Larsen & Toubro. I don't know how many of you know that. It's India's biggest engineering company. Worked there for 3 years. Then I went to IIM Bangalore, did my 2 years MBA in IIM Bangalore. Again, I don't know how many of you know IIM Bangalore, but if you have any questions on IIM Bangalore, etc., please feel free to ask. From there, I went to an investment bank called Lehman Brothers. Again, some of you are too young to know Lehman Brothers. If you search on Google about Lehman Brothers, you will know that this was one of the biggest investment banks in the world, but it collapsed. And the collapse of Lehman Brothers is what led to the 2008 financial crisis, right? So I had a very brief stint there, and then I joined McKinsey & Company. It's a US-based management consulting firm. It's difficult to define what management consultants do, but in brief terms, we advise other companies on topics like mergers and acquisitions, marketing, sales acceleration, things like that, right? And then I worked there for 11 years, then I quit, and then I started Zuger Foods. And I don't have to explain Zuger Foods, she did the work for me. So I've been working with Zuger for now 2 years. We started with like 1 outlet in Kochi. We have like 14 outlets now. Our objective is to take it to 50 by 2023 and 100 outlets in 2024 with God's grace. So that is my life story. So at any point of time, you have any question on any of this you want to know, because immediate for you guys will be, how do I get into NIT, or which course should I take at NIT, or some of you might be thinking about MBA, then where should I do MBA? That kind of questions, please feel free to shoot, though the session today is as per the schedule is on entrepreneurship, right? Okay. So before starting, let me ask you a question. How many of you know what entrepreneurship means? Anybody? No show of hands? Yeah, go for it. Do we have a mic with somebody? If there is no show of hands, I'll start randomly calling out names. So you don't want to do that. Okay. So let me let me lay out in simple terms what entrepreneurship means, right? Entrepreneurship means starting a business of your own, most probably with other people's money also involved. It's not just your money, with an intention of growing the business. Okay. So start a business of your own. You take your own money, but also other people's money, with an objective of growing the business, right? In simple terms, that is entrepreneurship. It is different from like what an engineer works or a doctor works, because you are starting something of your own, right? Now that starting point is important, because some of you might get into businesses which your dad has started or your grandfather has started, and that's not entrepreneurship, right? Entrepreneurship is about building something of your own. Is that clear? Okay. So let's see. First of all, this is not a speech, right? I'm not very good at speeches. I thought this will be more like an interactive session. So please feel free to shout questions, thoughts, etc. Don't feel shy, right? Can you just one click? So this I'm sure most of you will know. One, yeah. Who's this person? Good. So one more. So Bill Gates is the founder of Microsoft. Obviously, you know him. His worth, like last counting, is $138 million. Hello? Yeah. $138 million. But not just the money, right? The difference that he has made to the world is immense, right? Bill Gates is the reason why we have a laptop the way we see today, desktop the way we see today, a mobile phone we see today, right? He is the person who revolutionized personal computing, right? Do you know at what age he started doing business? Okay. 19 I hear and 21 I hear. 16 is 13, you know. Let's see one more. So he started his business 20, right? So some of you may think that business, I mean, look at it at some point of time. What you are guys about like 17, 18, 16. So it's not that far, right? One more clip. Who's that? Nice. So he is Elon Musk, obviously the founder of Tesla, SpaceX, and a few other starting companies. Yeah. Current worth is 200 billion. Forget the money part, right? Look at the impact that he has created in the world, right? Because he is the person who's leading the revolution where petrol cars and diesel cars are moving into electric cars.
which leads to a much better earth we living in, right? Less pollution, less fossil fuel dependency, etc. Right? Can you guess what was his age when he started his first business? Not Tesla, first business. One more click. 24, right? One more click. Okay. Anyway, I'll not go through that detail. What is the age when he started? 20. Okay. So these are the names you know, right? I don't have to tell you these people are, you know these people, right? So let me make this a little bit more competitive, a little bit more tougher, right? That's what it was. The first question is easy, second question is slightly more difficult. One more. Okay, one more. You know who that is? Anybody? Even if you don't know the name, if you identify what he does, that's good enough. Very good, very good. He's Ritesh Agarwal, he's the founder of Oyo, right? So the first slide you see a lot of American people who are far from us. But these are people who are close to us, right? Ritesh Agarwal started Oyo, and now Oyo is the world's largest hotel chain. World's largest hotel chain. Right? Not only that, it has actually changed the life of so many people. Because I remember when I started working, if you have to travel, the quality of hotels you will get in a distant city will be pathetic. Of course, there are five-star hotels if you can take it, it's a separate matter. But now that Oyo is there, it actually ensures that you can pay 1,000 rupees, 1,200 rupees in a very good quality hotel, safe for men and women alike, with basic necessities, right? So think about the money, obviously, is worth like $1.2 billion, but also think about the change that he has done in so many lives, right? At what age did he start? Nice. You guys already know what I don't need to know. One more. You know who that is? Even the company name is fine. By now you would have guessed some company from them. Okay, let's go. So he is Bhavish Agarwal. He is the founder of Ola. Have you heard about Ola? He, by the way, is a good friend. I knew him before he started the company, right? Current worth is again 1.2 billion, and that's not important. Again, like Elon Musk, he's now leading the movement to electric bikes. And the objective for him is to actually ensure that they become the largest bike manufacturer in India in 2 years. So imagine if all the bikes, the petrol bikes, move the electric bikes, what difference it will make to the world we live in, right? That is also important factor. It's not that much, right? Okay. What age did he start? That's right. 25. Okay, one last one. You know who that is? Have some. It's not just boys, right? Girls can also. Some of you may be thinking they came to give a speech on entrepreneurship, this is Kiran Mazumdar's show, maybe not as popular as the other two, but she is the founder of Bio. Okay. It may not be as a common name as Oyo, but buyout for India has really changed the what we call generic pharmaceuticals in India. So it's a wide topic. Let me tell you that the reason why medicines are much cheaper in India as compared to anywhere else in the world is because of a phenomenon called generics, right? It's out of patent manufacturing of pharmaceutical medicines, and she was one of the pioneers of that, right? One more click. So she started her business in 24, right? Now she's worth 3.2 billion. How much is 3.2 billion in Indian rupees? Let's try the math also. Shout. Let it be wrong. Go for it. No. By today's count, $3.2 billion is 22,000 crore. So my objective is not to bamboozle you by crore numbers or say that it will make thousands of crore, but to just give you a sense of how much successful some of these people are. Okay. And she started her business in 24. Any questions? Please shoot here. Any questions? So look, the only reason I showed you these pictures was basically to tell you two things, right? One is that most of the good entrepreneurs start early. They start when they are 18, they start when they are 19, they start when they are 20, right? So some of you may be 17 years old, some of you may be 18 years old. The impression I want to leave you with is people when they think about starting a business or entrepreneurship, they think it's like 10, 15 years ahead of me, which is what I thought, and I'll talk a little bit about my experience. But that's not true. Being a good entrepreneur means you're very close to starting point if you really have a passion to do something on your own. Right? That's the first point I want to leave you with. Clear? Any questions? Second point is, yes, everyone does business to make money. So that is a given, right? But successful entrepreneurs are also there for a bigger reason. It could be to avoid, to reduce pollution, therefore leading to reducing global warming. It could be to make people's lives easier. It could be to give lakh people employment. There may be many different reasons why business is set up, but it's not just money. Like personally, if you ask me, like she said, I started sugar, the idea of sugar came to me when I became diabetic. Right? I became diabetic when I was 29. And some of you may know this, some of your grandparents may be diabetic. We all think that, okay, for my parents, my dad, my mom, then only we will get married. Didn't work for me. I became diabetic at 29. And I had such a strong sweet tooth that I had to have my sweets in the So that is the inspiration by which I started. And my larger purpose is that, yes, I obviously want to make money. But also I want to ensure that everyone can have that bit of success in their life. Right? If you go with your, if there is a birthday celebration in your home, your grandmother will not be able to eat the cake. Now that is something, because he is diabetic. Now that's something I think is it's a painful thing for them. You will know it only when you are on the side, right? So everyone is eating a sweet and you can't eat a sweet. It's painful. I want to take away that pain from people's lives. I want everyone to taste the sweets irrespective of their age or their health. That is my life. So the second point I want to leave is that all successful entrepreneurs will have a larger purpose why they are trying to secure your life. Clear? But that's not the questions. That's not what's happening in India. Two more slides and then I'll stop and I'll leave it to, for example, questions. You will realize that people of your age. What I wanted to do next is to actually talk through some of the. So I just wanted to lay out what some of the doubts some of you that people have when you talk about startup. So I can tell when I was in your place, when I was studying in 10th or 12th, This is in 90s, right? We never, not only me, nobody in my class ever thought about starting a
First one
business.
is I will start my business.
It was all that you should get into engineering, get into RAC, get into
engineering or medicine,
communication,
and then I
right? Or get
I
into
will collect some money in my bank balance. I will ensure I have all the money. And
the few really
I've already told you
enterprising
that's
ones
not the
wanted to become a
And this I
chartered
can tell you from my experience that I'm already like 10 years.
people
in
never
it.
really at that
I can
time,
feel
I'm
it.
talking about 90s, right?
There were
Saying
days
that,
where
okay, I
feel
want to
that,
start a business
I
and
wish I started 10
expand.
years earlier.
Yes,
Because
there
when
were
you
people
start
whose
early,
dads
there are
were
so
doing some
many
business, whose
opportunities for you to
and they
make
knew they would
mistakes,
want to
correct
continue that,
yourself,
but that's,
get
again, like I said,
ahead,
that's not
etc.,
entrepreneurship,
etc.
right? That
Which
is
you
just
may not
running the
have when you
business.
start at 40, right?
But
So that's the first
this is
misconception
90s,
that I
right?
want you to move away from your life.
Most
You may think
times,
that I'm too small for this job.
opportunities for somebody to start a business
But if you
are
want to
actually
be
very
Bill Gates or if you want to be a
people are all
publisher, you
chasing
only
safe
have
careers,
3, 4
right?
more
If your
years
dad or
to
mom
start.
will typically tell
So
you that
that
please
stage
do
they started,
what
right?
is
18,
safe,
19,
secure
20,
your
21.
life, right? But
The
that's not
second thought
the
people have is, okay,
that's
I
not
have
what's
a
happening
great
in India
idea to
right
start a
now. If you
business.
just go outside, if
That
you
is
come to
done.
Bangalore, for example,
I can tell you
you
that
will
idea
realize
is
that
only
people
a
of
starting
your
point.
age are starting out, and there is
What is
every
most
support
difficult
that
is
they
to
get
actually put that
to start
idea
up.
into
Right.
practice.
So I just wanted to
So
lay
I was
out
talking
what
to
some of
TCS
the
some time ago,
doubts
for
some of
example,
you
right?
may be
He
having,
was,
or at
what,
least I
30
had when I was in
started,
your
when
age.
he had this idea
And I
of
want to tell you the
setting up
true
a school.
picture of what it really
But
is.
that's a great idea
Right?
to have a school
Go
with
to
this
the
culture
next
and this,
Yeah, one more click.
to have a society
So this,
like this, right?
yeah, let's say that. The first one is I will start my business after I secure my future. Right? I'll go do an engineering or medicine.
It is not
and
about
then
the idea, it's about
I will
your
collect some
willingness
money
to
in my
work
bank
to make
balance.
that
I will
idea
ensure I
reality.
have all the money, and then after 40, I will start a
And you
business.
need to be prepared for that.
Right? I've already told you that's
Next
not the
one.
case. And this I can tell
This
you
is
from
an
my
important
experience
one.
that I'm already
A
like
lot
10
of
years
people
late when
who
I
I
started
talk to,
business. I can feel it.
slightly older than you, people tell me that I
There
don't
are
have
days
money.
where I feel that,
Okay, I have a
oh, I
great
wish I
idea to
started
start
10
a
years
business.
earlier. Because
I'm
when you
willing to work
start
hard for
early,
it,
there are
but
so
I don't
many
have money. What do I do? My
opportunities for
dad
you
is
to
a
make
government
mistakes,
employee.
correct yourself, get
Where do I get the
ahead,
money?
etc., etc., which you may not
Do
have
you
when you
have
start
thoughts
at
like
40,
that?
right? So that's the first misconception
Okay,
that
what is
I
the
want
answer?
you to move away from your
Where do you
life.
get
You may
money?
think that I'm too small for this talk. But if you want to be Bill Gates or if you want to be Bhavish Agarwal, you only have 3
what do you call the
years
ecosystem,
to start a
has
company.
so
Because you know
changed
that's the
that
age where they started, right? 18,
there
19,
are
20s when they
plenty
started.
of people who are willing to give
The
you
second
money
thought
with
people
no
have is,
secret,
okay,
you
I
don't
have a
want- it's
great
not like
idea to
loaning
start
from
a
bank, you have
business.
to give the,
That is done.
within the
I can tell you that idea is
without any
only a
security,
starting,
right?
right?
There are
What is
lots and
most
lots of
difficult
people
is to
there who are
actually
willing
put that
to
idea
give you the
into
money
practice.
required to start.
So I was
They
talking to
just need a
CDCS
good
sometime
idea,
ago,
and they
right?
need to be
He was
convinced that you are the
30
people
when
who
he
will
started, when he had this idea of setting up
And
a
there are
school.
different stages of
Now, that's a
investors.
great
I'm not going
idea.
into too much of the
To have a
technical
school
details,
with
but
this
there
culture
are
and
angel
this,
investors who will give you money before
have a
the start
society
of the
like this,
business.
right?
Right?
But
And
it
then
would
there
have
are,
taken
when
you
you want
so
to expand, there
much
are angel
more
investors
effort
who
to
will
actually
actually give you
set this
money
up.
at that stage.
So
An angel
it is
investor
not
might
about
give
the
you like
idea, it's
1
about
crore
your
rupees to
willingness
start a
to
business.
work to make
You
that
run it
idea
for 1 or 2
reality.
years, you
Okay.
want to raise
And
10
you need to be
crores.
prepared
Then
for
you have
that.
a venture capitalist who will give you that
Next
money.
one.
Right? After some time, you want
This is an
100
important
crores,
one.
there are private
A
equities.
lot of people who I
I'm not
talk
going
to,
to the details of that
maybe
in
slightly
the
older than
session.
you, people tell me that I don't have money.
Not
Okay, I have a
having
great
money
idea to start a
is
business.
never a reason
I'm willing
to
to
not
work
start
hard
a
for it,
business.
but I don't have money.
And
What do I do? My dad is a
at a
government
later stage, if
employee.
you guys are interested, I can come back and
Where do I get the
talk in
money?
a bit more detail about
When you, if you have thoughts like that,
how do you start that, right? How do you start
okay,
looking
what is the
for
answer?
money? Government of
Where do you
Kerala,
get
for
money?
example, has a startup mission which needs it has incubation centers, it has
So
angel investors.
the
Malabar
ecosystem,
angel
what do you call the
investors
ecosystem,
just
has
outside
so
us, right?
changed.
So there are plenty of people
There
who are
are
willing to give you money,
plenty
but
of
nobody
people
gives
who
them
are
money
willing
for
to
free.
give you money.
They have to be
No
convinced that
security,
you have a
you
great
not, it's
idea.
not like
They have to
loaning
be
from
convinced
bank.
that you have the
You get
passion and the path.
within the
to
Aadhaar,
go.
you get it
Right?
without any security.
Get that?
There are lots and lots of people there who are
Sorry,
willing to
I'm finding it a little uncomfortable that there are no questions. I'm
They
not
just need
such
a
great
good
speaker
idea.
that you'll
They
understand
need
it
to be
first time.
convinced that you are the people.
Either you're not understanding anything or you're not asking the question.
And there are different stages of
Everything okay?
investors. I'll not go into too much of the technical details, but there are angel investors who will give you money before
So
the
again,
start.
this is a myth that a lot of people
And then there are, when you want to expand, there are angel investors who will actually give you money at that stage. An angel investor might give you like 1 crore rupees to start a business. Right?
Last year,
You run it for 1 or 2 years, you want to extend, you have a venture capitalist who will give you that money. Right? After some time, you want to take 100 crores, there are private equities.
total revenue.
So I'll not go into the details of that, maybe too much for this session.
Right?
But
Do anyone know
not
about the
having
profit?
money is never a reason to not start a business.
Yes, sure.
And if at a later stage, if you guys are interested, I can come back and talk in a bit more detail about
Yes.
how do you start that, right? How do you start?
I'll tell you a clue. It was a loss. So what was the
Government of
loss?
Kerala, for example, has a startup mission, which in
Sorry?
itself has incubation centers.
No, what was
it
their
has
loss?
angel
Their
investors,
revenue was
Malabar
2,000 crore. What was the number?
just
What was
outside
the
us,
loss
right?
they had? How many
So there are
crores loss
plenty
did
of
they have?
people who are willing to give you money, but nobody gives their money for free. They have to be convinced that you have a great idea.
Sorry?
They have to be convinced that you have the passion
50?
and the path to make it work.
Their
Right.
loss was
Get
4,000
that?
crores.
Sorry,
Google this,
I'm
brother.
finding it a little uncomfortable that there are no.
So their
I'm not
income,
such a
the
great
money
speaker
they
that you
got
understand me.
was 2,000 crore.
Either you're not
The
understanding
expenses
anything
they
or you're
had
not
was
asking.
6,000 crore. Which
Is
means
everything
what?
okay?
Losses
Okay.
4,000 crore. Would you know that? Would you think that Swiggy is not a successful company?
Again, this is a
very
myth
successful.
that a lot of people have. Like the business has
So
to be
that is how
successful
startups
immediately.
work, right? Startups
Not
don't
the
work
case.
on.
So you all know about
Startup
Swiggy?
works on growth.
Yes.
Important fact was Swiggy
Last
grew
year,
from
that is
1,300 crores revenue to
2019, 2020, which is the
So
last
if you
year.
have an idea,
Clear their
the reason I'm
financials.
telling you this is if you have an idea in
Their
mind, but you think that it will take a long
total
time to
revenue,
make it successful,
total sales was
that is
2,000
fine.
crore.
If the idea is right and if you are
Do anyone know what was their
convince
profit?
the investors that is an investable idea, there are enough people will keep
Yes,
funding you till you make it profitable or you make it successful.
Somebody said yes.
Right?
Yes.
Yeah?
Yes.
Okay. Last one.
I'll tell you a clue. It was a loss.
Starting a
What was
business
the
is full
loss?
of headaches and tension.
Sorry?
Like you would have heard this before, right? I'm sure some of your uncles.
What was their
aunties,
loss?
Somebody
Their
would have
revenue
said,
was
"Ah, business
2,000
not
crore.
my
What was
cup."
the number there? What is the loss they had? How many crores
What do you think
loss
is the
did
truth?
they have?
This I can tell you from
Sorry?
my experience. It is
50?
a lot of responsibility, sure.
Their loss
But
was
it also gives
4,000
you
crores.
flexibility like no other job will.
You can Google this, by the way.
You're not reporting to anyone.
So their
you don't have
income,
to,
the money they
come
got
to office
was
at 9
2,000
o'clock. You don't have to. If you want to take a
Expenses
leave,
they
you take
had
a
was
leave, right?
6,000
Nobody, you don't have to ask.
Which means
anyone.
what? Losses?
So it is flexibility.
4,000. Would you know that?
It
Would you
gives you
think that
a
Swiggy is
lot
not a
of,
successful company? Swiggy is a very successful company.
Ability to do the way you
So
want to do it.
that is how startups
Yes,
work.
there's a lot of
Startups don't
responsibility. There
work
are lots
on
of
profit. Startup works on growth.
times when you really feel
Important fact
stressed.
was Swiggy grow from
Let me
1,300
correct it, not feel
crores.
stretched. You feel stretched but not feel stressed.
So if you
feel
have
like
an
you need to
idea,
do more.
the reason I'm telling you this
But
is if you
stress
have an
is
idea,
there in every
you
job.
think that
I
it
don't
will take a
think
long time to
that is
make
a
it
reason
successful.
for you to not
That
take
is
it
fine.
business.
If the idea is right and if you are able to convince the investors that is an
Again, this is a
investment,
way.
there are enough
What
people
if the
who will keep
business
funding
fails?
you till you
We
make it
all know
profitable
that
or
a
make
new
it
business can fail, right? So it's understood. As per India,
clear.
reports which I saw last, every 85 in 100 companies.
Starting a
start
business is
up.
full of headaches and tension.
Which means of 100 companies
You would have heard this
started, 85 was
before,
failing.
right? I'm sure some
So
of
what
you
happens if I start a business and fail?
somebody would have said, "I have business and all bhayangara talavedana." Yes?
Yeah.
What do you think is the truth?
Yeah.
Okay.
So that
This
is
I
the
can
point.
tell you from my experience.
If you take all the
It is a lot of
successful
responsibility,
few of them have got
but it
right
also
in the
gives
first
you
time.
flexibility
That's
like no
the
other
big
job.
difference that I was talking to you. Right?
You're not
When I
reporting
was
to
growing up in
anyone, so
90s
you don't
and
have to
is in
come
90s
to
if you
office
started a
at 9
business
o'clock.
and
You
if
don't
you
need to.
fail,
If you want to take a day leave, you take
and
a day leave.
you
Right?
had a
Nobody
problem
would
in the
have-
society, right? Not business
So it is flexibility. It gives you a lot of ability to do the way you want to do it. But yes, there is a lot of responsibility. There are lots of
Even failed business
times when you really feel
provided
stressed.
you have learned from that experience,
Let me
provided
correct,
you've
not
done
feel stretched.
your
You
work,
feel stretched, but not
there's
feel
a lot
stressed.
of
So you feel like you need to do more.
takers in the market. There are
Stress
people
is
who
there
are
in
willing
every
to
job.
invest
So I
in
don't
it
think
too.
that is a
And if you
reason
want to
for
then go work in a
stress.
company, there are a lot of companies who are
Right.
willing to
Last one.
recruit failed
Again, this is a
businessmen.
big one.
Telling you the
What
truth,
if the business
right? Because
fails?
I've been on
And we
other
all
sides
know
of
that a
who
new
did.
business can fail, right?
Because
It's understood. As per
the
India,
learnings, the lessons you've learned,
odds
while
which I saw
running a
last,
business,
every
you'll never be able to
85
get
and
that,
100 companies startup
working
were
for a
failing.
company.
Which means of 100
So
companies
don't
started,
worry
85 was failing.
that what happens
So what
if it
happens if I
fails
start a
and
business
what
and
happens to me, my career is dead. Even if you fail as an
Yeah.
entrepreneur, again I repeat, right? You did something stupid and foolish and it goes down, it's a different matter. I'm saying that
That is the point.
you had a good idea.
If you take all
you
the
tried your
successful
best,
investors, very few of them have got
but because of some
it
reason
right
it failed.
in the first try.
You will still
And that's
have
okay.
takers, either to
The big
invest in a
difference
new
that I was
business
talking
idea that
about,
you
right,
have,
when I was growing up in 90s and today,
to actually absorb
is
your
in
money.
90s if you started a business
Right.
and if it failed,
Right. last slide.
You had a problem in the society, right? നാട്ടിലൊരു ബിസിനസ് തുടങ്ങി പൊട്ടി കഴിഞ്ഞിട്ടുണ്ടെങ്കിൽ എല്ലാവരും പറയോ അവൻ പൊട്ടി അവൻ ബാപ്പൻ്റെ പൈസ കൊണ്ടുപോയി കളഞ്ഞു,
Who should think about starting a business?
അച്ഛൻ്റെ പൈസ കളഞ്ഞു, right?
Look at the first column.
But that's not the case
If
today.
you enjoy taking risks
Even
and
failed
going for it.
businessmen,
If you don't
provided you
always feel
learn
like, oh,
from
what
their
if this
experience,
fails, what
provided
if
you
this is
done
not
your
right?
work correctly,
But generally,
there's a
you
lot
want to
of
work a class, you are working a class.
takers
You are not
in the
thinking about
market.
it.
There are people who are willing
You
to
are a risk
invest
taker in your
and
life.
do. And if you want to then go work in a company, there are a lot of
If
companies
you
who
are
are
passionate
willing
about building something,
recruit
it's very important.
failed
Right? I spoke to you about the passion. So it is not just money.
right? Because
Do
I've been
you
on the other
think that
side.
I want to make 1,000 crore and therefore I will
Because
become a
the
businessman? Yes. 1,000 crore
learning
will
the
come or may
lessons
not come, but that's not the point.
running your
You
business,
should have a
you
passion.
will never be able to
do
get
something
that,
which you are doing.
working for a company.
If it's an electric car,
So
you should
don't
have a vision that I need to
what
move
happens if it fails, then what happens
If
to
you are
me?
starting
My
like
career is
me
doing.
on a sugar-free company, then
Even
should
if you
have a
fail as
vision
an
that everyone should be
again I
able to
repeat,
do it.
right? You did something stupid and foolish and it goes down, it's a different matter. I'm saying that
Have a
you
clear
had a
view
good
what
idea,
you
you tried your
You should
best,
feel passionate
make it
about it. If
successful.
you're not feeling passionate
But
about
because
it,
of
there's
some
no way
reason
you
it
can say it to
failed.
others, right? You will
You
not
still
be able
have
to tell your
to
customers,
either to invest
your
in a new
investors,
business
if
idea
you
that you
don't
have
feel that passion yourself.
or to actually absorb you in.
Are a self-starter and have a drive to
Right.
achieve. Now that's very important.
Right. Last slide.
Go work in a
Take
company, there is
questions.
always that boss who will tell you that, this
So,
is what you should do, this
to
is what
summarize,
you should not do, you should try and do this, you should not
If
try and do that, etc.
who should think about starting a business?
But when you start, it
Look
is
at the
all
first
about
column.
you. You have to take
If you
initiative and you have to
enjoy
start.
taking
So this
risks,
is something you have
going
to
for it.
think about, right?
If you don't
And
always feel like, oh, what if
people
this
work
fails? What if this is
Successful
not?
entrepreneurship is all about
Generally,
having a lot of
you
people
want a bunker class, you are
giving
bunker
them the
class.
responsibility.
You are not thinking about
to do
it.
things. So it is
You are a risk
all
taker in
about
your life.
leading people. It's all about
Something that you should
people
go for, you
managing
should think
people,
about.
right?
If you are passionate
Of
about
course,
building
very
something,
interesting.
and this is very
We want to
important,
make
right? I spoke to you about the passion. So it is not just money.
And
If you
who
think that I
should
want to
not
make
think about
1,000 crore and
becoming a
therefore I will
businessman,
become a
right?
businessman, yes, 1,000 crore will come or may
If
not
you
come.
want a
That's not the
stable 9 to
point.
5 job,
You should have a
maybe
passion to
in a
do
company is a
something
better
which you are doing for, right?
because an entrepreneur
If
will
it's an
never have
electric
a
car,
9 to 5
you should have a vision.
I
that
don't know,
need
for
to
example,
do
where I will be
it.
next week. I may
If
be
you
in
are
Chennai,
starting
I may
like
be
me
in Bangalore,
on
I
a
don't
sugar-free
know.
company, then you should
It
have a
depends
vision
on
that
what
everyone
comes
should
up,
be able to
right? So
enjoy.
you don't have the ability
Every
to tell
failed
your
or successful
wife
businessman
and kids that,
should
okay,
have a
next
clear
13th
view of
we
what
will
they're
go for a
doing.
tour.
And should
Whenever
feel
I get
passionate
that
about it. If
but
you're not feeling
it is
passionate
not
about
that
it, there's no way
well
you can sell
structured.
it to others, right? You will not be able to sell it to your customers, your
Taking
investors.
risk,
If
take
you
risks,
don't feel that
then
passion
entrepreneurship will be a big,
right?
big
are a self-starter and have a drive to achieve.
the
That's very
stress
important.
and the headache part that
If
I
you
was
go
talking
work
about
in a
will
company,
become
there is
intense if you're
always
not,
that
uh,
boss who will
taker.
tell you that,
If you're not inherently
this is what you
like
should do,
taking
this is
risks,
what you should
then
not
don't
do, you should try and do this, you should not try and do that.
If you work better with people managing you,
But when you start,
think that
it is all on
somebody
you.
telling
You have to take
direction
initiative and
of
you have
what
to
you
start.
should do.
So
That's
this is
better
something
for
you have to
than don't
think
wait.
about, right? Can lead people and
Looking for
get
stability,
work
in fact, I think I've spoken
Successful
about it.
entrepreneurship is
And
all
if you're
about
passionate about another thing, right? If you want to
giving
be a
them the
doctor,
responsibility and
so for
ability
you
to
to
do
become an
things.
entrepreneur. You can become a
It's
doctor.
all
and-
about leading people.
So what is the difference between like a top doctor and let's say
And of course, you are interested in making big
Dr.
money.
Asam
If you
Mohan.
want to make money, then you should.
He's a doctor entrepreneur, right? He's a doctor, but he's also
And
setting
who
up-
should not think about
There are other
becoming a
professions in which you can
businessman?
become an entrepreneur as well, right?
If you
But
want a
to
stable
say,
9 to 5
I
job,
want to be an ISR
then maybe
scientist, then
working in a company is a better bet for you. Because an
Okay.
entrepreneur will never have a 9 to 5
that's
job.
all what I had to say.
I don't know, for example, where I'll be next week. I may be in Chennai, I may be in Bangalore, I may be in Bombay, I don't know. It depends on what comes up.
Like I said,
So you don't have
always very
the
happy.
ability to tell your wife and kids that, okay, next 13th we will go for a tour.
Good
Whenever
morning,
I get time, I
sir.
go. But
So,
it is
like,
not that
you know,
well structured.
എല്ലാവർക്കും ഒരു ഡ്രീം കം ട്രൂ ആണ് പക്ഷേ like sugar
Hate
is a very
taking risk.
young
If you
thing.
hate
And
risk,
you just
then
without
entrepreneurship will be a
impact on your
big,
body.
big.
എല്ലാവർക്കും ഇഷ്ടപ്പെട്ട
What do you call it? The stress and the headache part that I was talking about become intense. If you are a risk taker in life. If you're not inherently you don't like taking risks, then don't.
പക്ഷേ എങ്ങനെ എല്ലാവരും
If you work better with people managing you, if you think that somebody telling you, give you direction of what you should do,
So
that's better.
basically the idea comes from your own conviction.
looking for stability in life. I think I've spoken about it. And if you're passionate about another career, right? If you want to be a great doctor, there's no point for you to become an entrepreneur. You can become a doctor entrepreneur.
My personal story.
So what is the difference between like a top doctor and let's say
Because I was developing
Dr.
it for
Asad
myself.
Momin, for example?
Because I wanted
He's a
to
doctor
make
entrepreneur, right? He's a
and I had
doctor,
no
but he's also
experience.
setting up hospitals.
Me and my wife,
there
we
are
were
other
looking at
professions in which
YouTube
you can
videos, we were doing
do that.
research, and she's a doctor, so she understands.
But
the
if you
medicine.
want to say, I want to be
And whenever I used to go abroad,
basically
because abroad this is there, right? I used to buy
Okay.
them in bulk, I used to take it back.
that's all what I had
We
to
used
say.
to do some reverse engineering, trying to figure out how this is cooked.
Anything else you want to ask me? Any questions? Any thoughts? Like I said about entrepreneurship or
So I
otherwise.
understand the pain points of a customer. Potential customer ക്ക് എന്തൊക്കെ പ്രശ്നങ്ങളുണ്ടെന്ന് എനിക്കറിയാം.
Hello, good morning,
ഞാൻ
sir.
എൻ്റെ മകന്റെ ബർത്ത്ഡേക്ക്
So, like, you know, എല്ലാവർക്കും ഒരു ഡ്രീം കം ട്രൂ ആണിത്. പക്ഷേ ലൈക്ക് ഷുഗർ ഇസ് എ വെരി യമ്മി തിങ് ആൻഡ് യു കൻ ഈറ്റ് ഇറ്റ് വിതൗട്ട് എനി ഇമ്പാക്ട് ഓൺ യുവർ ബോഡി. എല്ലാവർക്കും ഇഷ്ടപ്പെട്ട കാര്യം. ആ ഒരു കാര്യം ഇത്രയും കൺവിൻസിംഗ് ആയിട്ട് ലൈക്ക് ഇൻവെസ്റ്റേഴ്സിനോടായാലും ആ ഏതൊരാളും ഫസ്റ്റ് ഐ ഡോണ്ട് തിങ്ക് എവ്രി വൺ സപ്പോർട്ടഡ് യു ആൻഡ് ദിസ് യുവർ വർക്ക് ദിസ് ഇസ് എ ഗ്രേറ്റ് ഐഡിയ. പക്ഷെ എങ്ങനെ എല്ലാവരെയും കൺവിൻസ് ചെയ്തു, എങ്ങനെ ഈ ഒരു ഐഡിയ ക്രിയേറ്റ് ചെയ്തു, ഹൗ ഡിഡ് യു ലൈക്ക് യു നോ implement it?
And honestly,
So
investment has
basically the idea comes from your conviction. If you have conviction yourself, you'll be able to convince others. That's the first thing. If you don't think yourself that this is a great idea, then you won't find it.
Second round,
My
we
personal
reached
story is
1.5 crores.
because it took me 7 years to
Again, I met like
develop
6
these
people
products
who were willing to invest
because
in
I was
something.
developing it for myself.
So,
Because I wanted to eat sweet.
Genuinely, when I say
I
this,
had
some
no
of
way
you
of
might think
eating
that,
sweets.
oh, what do you want?
Me and my wife, we were looking at YouTube videos.
Genuinely, if you have a good
Research, she's a
idea,
doctor, so she
if you
understands
have
the
passion
medical
about it, there are plenty.
and whenever I used to go abroad,
You may be surprised to know
I
how
used to
many
buy them in bulk, I
Malayalis
used to
have
take it back,
excess money.
and we used to do some
They
reverse
don't see,
engineering,
but they
trying
have
to
it in
figure
their
out
pocket.
how this is cooked. Right?
And they're willing to
അപ്പോൾ
invest in it.
നമുക്ക്
So I
കഴിക്കാൻ
think
വേണ്ടി എനിക്ക് കഴിക്കാൻ
the
വേണ്ടി
question is,
right?
do you have an
So
idea that
I
you
understand
primarily
the
believe
pain
in
points of a customer. Potential കസ്റ്റമർക്ക് എന്തൊക്കെ പ്രശ്നങ്ങളുണ്ടെന്ന് എനിക്കറിയാം. ഞാൻ എൻ്റെ മകൻ്റെ ബർത്ത്ഡേക്ക് ഒരു കേക്ക് കട്ട് ചെയ്താൽ അവൻ എൻ്റെ വായിൽ വെച്ചെന്നാൽ എനിക്ക് കഴിക്കാൻ പറ്റുന്നില്ല എന്നുള്ള മെയിൻ പോയിന്റ് എനിക്കറിയാം. ഓക്കെ, ഞാൻ എൻ്റെ ഫാമിലിയുമായിട്ട് ഒരു ബൊഫേക്ക് പോയി കഴിഞ്ഞിട്ടുണ്ടെങ്കിൽ മെയിൻ കോഴ്സ് എല്ലാവരും കഴിക്കും, അത് കഴിഞ്ഞ് അവർ ഡെസേർട്ട് കഴിച്ചിട്ട് നോക്കിയിരിക്കും. സോ ആ പെയിൻ പോയിന്റ് എനിക്കറിയാം. From there, the conviction starts that this is a good product because I've been eating it for 5 years. I understand customers need it because I'm a customer. I'm a
irrespective of how
right?
big it is.
If you have that conviction, then it is
Can
not
avoid
difficult to convince investors. For example, right? And honestly, investment has not
Last
been a problem.
investment was about
Like I would have, first round we
that is just
raised
paper money. Don't go with that.
60 lakhs, I think.
So risk is always there.
Two
Question
of them
is,
were willing
if that
to
risk
invest.
worries you, then
who I want as
you
an
are not a
investor.
good entrepreneur.
Second
You
round
have
we
to
raised 1.5
think about the
crores.
glass half full, not
Again,
the
I met
glass
like
half
6 people, 4 of them were willing to invest. I had to pick who I want to take. So, genuinely, when I say this, some of you might think that, oh,
So
very good,
you're an engineer.
Yes.
But
So
genuinely, if you have a good
for
idea,
finishing
and if
B.Tech,
you have
you should
passion
have
about it, there are
liked
plenty
it.
of people
So-
who are willing to invest.
And
You may be
next,
surprised
you
to
are
know how many
moving to a management
Malayalis
career.
have excess
Then you
money,
pay for
which
details.
we may not see,
So,
but they have it in their pocket.
Did you
And
love
they're willing to invest.
engineering, then management, and
So
then
I think the real question is,
You want the
do you
truth
have an
or
idea that
the-
you primarily believe in?
The
If you
truth.
have it, then others
So
will
the
continue.
truth is, I always wanted to be an engineer because of the fact that I was very good in math. I love
As also
mathematics.
the
Even in
entrepreneurship
study,
days,
Javed mentioned I love
how did
mathematics, right?
Yuga
I always wanted to be an engineer.
Zugar has not overcome
I
it.
joined NIT
Even now,
because
if
I
you
wanted
ask
to
me,
be
I would say there is a 60% chance that Zugar will go
I
first.
hated engineering.
Goes to the shop and go home.
My third
There's a
year.
40% chance that we will make it big.
I still
No business,
finished my engineering
irrespective
top in
of
the
how
university,
big it
so
is.
It's not like I didn't study well.
Can avoid risk.
But I hated
So,
it.
what is the
I
network?
did not want to work as an engineer.
Right now,
Yeah.
I don't know.
And I
last
always
investment
figured
was
out my
about
passion
25
is actually selling.
valuation for that.
My passion is actually.
But that is just paper money.
finding a
Don't go
product
with that,
and selling
right?
it to a customer. That's
So
what I
risk is
love.
always there. The question is,
Also,
if
my
that
dad
risk
was
worries you,
business,
then
so
you are not a good entrepreneur.
even when
You
I
have
joined,
to think about the
LNT,
glass
which
half
was like
full,
the biggest
not the
engineering
glass
company
half
at that point of
full.
time.
You know what I mean?
Because marketing companies were not coming to NIT at that point of time. The first thing I asked him is, can I
Hi,
get a
sir.
marketing job?
so you're an engineer.
Yes.
Yeah.
And
So
the marketing job I did, and then
for
I
finishing
realized I
B.Tech,
need to
you
do
should
bit
have
more
liked
background
it.
understanding
So-
of what management is to be a better
next,
sales
you are
guy. So I did my
moving to
MBA.
a management career.
Yes.
And then I
Then
went
you
into
pay
a
for
job that I
details.
love.
Yes.
I love
So,
working in McKinsey,
like,
etc. But
Did
beyond
you
that point,
love
it
love
was
engineer, then
like-
management,
it was
and
like
then into a food
you are doing the
industry?
same thing.
You want the truth or a very...
Impulse
The
to start
truth.
business was always there.
So the truth is, I always wanted to be an
and then we
engineer
didn't take off, right?
because of the fact that I was very good in math.
So I wanted to start
I
something,
loved
we'll create a
mathematics.
plan, we'll find partners
Even in
from
Ansari,
there, and
RSC,
then
when
we'll start.
the Abram, when I studied, I
Some
loved
point I
math.
realized I'm 38. If
I always
do
wanted
it
to be
now,
an
I'll not do it ever in my life.
I joined NIT because I wanted to be an engineer.
That's when I came to it. See, my own
I
view is
hated engineering
don't
in my
overthink
third year
these
of
things.
engineering.
You cannot plan your career.
I still
What you
finished my
feel
engineering
right
as a
at that
topper in
point
the
of time.
university, so it's not like I didn't study well,
Let's see where it
but I hated it. Okay. I did not want to work as an engineer.
So I have read that like being
And I
an
always
engineer
figured out
makes
my
you a
passion
problem
is actually
solver,
selling.
and being a
My
problem
passion is
solver
actually,
means when you start
finding a
business.
product
So
and selling it to a customer. That's what I
being
love,
B.Tech,
right?
did that help
All through my
you
life, I've been a good
this
street
thing,
salesman.
like,
So
in your,
even when I
business?
joined L&T, which was like the biggest engineering company at that point of time, because marketing companies were not coming to L&T at that point, right? The first thing I asked him is, can I get a marketing job?
Investor is just going to ask.
They gave me a marketing job. Right? And that marketing job I did, and then I realized I need to do a bit more background understanding of what management is to be a better salesman. So I did my MBA, right? And then I went into a job that I loved. I loved working in McKinsey, etc. But beyond a point, it was getting boring, right? It was like you are doing the same thing again and again. And this impulse to start a business was always there. I started 3 times, and then it didn't take off, right? At different points of my career. So I wanted to start something, we'll create a plan, we'll find partners to come with, then I'll dice down, then again. Then. At some point I realized I'm 38, if I don't do it now, I'll not
I
do
was
it ever in my
blessed
life.
to be in a family who.
That's when I came to it. See, my own view is,
Never asked me, have you studied?
don't
What
overthink
have you
these things.
studied?
You cannot plan
Where
your
are you
career.
going?
What you
want to
feel
do?
right at that point of
They
time.
don't give respect.
Right? And then see.
And honestly, I've never let them down. I was always.
Okay, sir, one more question.
Doing very nice.
So I have read that like being an engineer makes you a problem solver,
They want me
and
to
being a
have a
problem
good life
solver
that I
helps
enjoy.
when you start a
Never ever
business.
told me
So
you take engineering. go
taking
to
B.Tech,
business and all.
did that help you in this
Do what you
field,
want to
like
do.
in your
They obviously told me
business?
like the other side of things, right? They told me
Like anything
not
that
to
I
cheat
studied in
anybody,
my B.Tech never helped me in
not
my
to kill
business.
myself working.
However,
taking care of your body, taking
what
care of
really
yourself.
helped me was studying in
Never
an
told me
institute
what
like
is
NIT, right? That still helps. Because if I
I mean,
want
I'm sure
my
it's not
classmates are
everyone's
still
plan.
there in investment banks, my classmates are still there in like big companies, my classmates are still there in a lot of startups. So that network and the growth you will have when you study in an
Most
institute
of
like
the
an NIT or
entrepreneurs
an
are
IIM
starting their
obviously
business
helps.
after this
But
professional courses.
the bending
like Azad
equation and the
Iqbal
fluid
and
mechanics I
So,
studied has
what's your
absolutely
opinion
zero
on
value.
that?
In fact, it had never helped me anywhere outside of my
A lot
B.Tech.
of
Except
entrepreneurs don't even complete college, by the way. So I don't think
Hello,
there is
sir.
any.
You said that entrepreneurship
That's
and
it.
starting a business
I
alone.
understand that context.
There are
We are
chances of
still in
failing
Kerala,
since
we are
nobody is
in
there to
Malabar,
advise
we
you.
understand the conservatism.
Risk-taking failure is a common factor.
Yes.
Want to be
So have you experienced such a failure?
safer, you want to do
not yet,
engineering or
and I
medicine.
hope we don't.
Honestly,
But you never
never
helps, right?
So if such a failure
Law prevents you
is
from
coming,
Yeah.
how do you get over it?
So there is nothing
For
to
sure,
go
all
with, right? So for example,
medical
for
company,
example,
I don't think so. I think
there
you
is
want
my
to-
money. So
At some
I would
point
have
you
kept
might
like
want to
50%
do
of my
some
savings.
courses of an MBA.
And then there are a few investors who put money.
How to do marketing, etc.
Now let's say
But again,
sugar
not a
fails.
structure to
We have to shut down the company. What happens?
Courses.
I will lose that 50% of my saving, and the investors will lose their money. So
But yes,
investors
I
are
mean, from your family
super rich, they don't care about that. So they come into the investment thing, understanding that there is a risk and
But answer is no, right? There are plenty of
for me, I
entrepreneurs
lose,
who
yes,
never
half of my
completed
life
school.
saving is still big money, but what will I do? I will go, I might start a new thing, I'll go back work. I'll have to figure out. See, it is not the end of your life. See, what I say is when people, what you should try and avoid is the debt trap. Right? So if you're starting like, if you have 20 lakhs that you have invested and you've taken like 1 crore as a debt, loan from the bank, and you have pledged your house and you have pledged your jewelry and you have pledged everything, then it is a problem. Because then what happens if it fails is they will take your home. Then it's okay. But it's a problem, right? What I'm saying is if you have a good idea, you don't need to do it. There are people who are willing to invest in your company. You have to give them 20% share of the company. It's okay. They may give you like only 50 lakhs to start something. You don't have to start like, investing
At a certain
10 crores.
so they pay you 100 rupees. After 2 years, you
The idea is
have
that
150 rupees.
even if it fails, you should have enough ability to
investment works on equity. So you pay.
I would say don't like pledge your house and jewelry and
Then there are convertibles, which I think is what you may be asking. So what they do is they will give you a loan, okay, but they have an option to convert it to equity if they want to. Now, which is good, obviously, in your equities. So if you think your company is being correctly valued, then equity is better. If
So,
you think the company is
many
not
of them
correctly
has
valued
a
and if
lot
they are
of very
undervaluing it, then it is
innovative
better.
ideas, but
Because you know
are
that
actually scared to
you give
implement
equity, your
those.
company is more
So I have
valuable
to
than
ask,
you, right? But
sir, why
generally
you
speaking,
were
don't take
implementing your
debt when you're
ideas? Were
starting
you
off.
that confident or a bit
Because
scared?
a new business takes time to
No, I
make
was
money.
not scared
It
at
takes
all.
3 years, 4 years, 5 years to make
Was I
money.
confident that it
The
will work?
bank will not wait for
Like I
your
said, when I started, it
business
was
to be
20%.
profitable. So they will
I
ask
thought it
money
will work.
every
You
month.
understand probability.
If you're not able to pay
So
that
20%
money,
probability it will work, 80%
always
probability
better
it
to
will
take
fail.
equity, but
I knew that,
provided
right?
that the investor
okay
is
with
valuing your company.
I was like, okay, if it fails, it fails, right? What happens here? You only have one life. You wanted to do something, you did it, it failed, it failed. What I say is, for me, because I started at 38, that thought is more scarier than for you guys. If you guys are starting at 20, if it fails, what happens? 2 years of your life, okay, move. But the learnings that you have, the fun ride that you
I
have
was very
setting up
good
a new
at
business is
it.
more than sufficient.
Right.
So I would say don't be scared, but be aware of the risk.
old and
See,
formal
you should not
in
go into a new firm thinking it will succeed on us. There are more chances for it to fail than it to succeed.
I used to do my
But enjoy the ride, take the learning. If it doesn't work, go for the next
And
one.
I really
Right?
wanted it.
Give it your best shot.
But
don't be scared. There is no point of being scared. What will you lose? What is there to lose? You lose half of your life savings. You lose 3 years.
So you enjoy, and I always enjoyed studying.
See, you never succeed if you don't try, no?
ഇതൊരു എന്താ പറയുക ഞാൻ പറയുന്നത് എനിക്കൊരു ഈവൻ വെറുതെ പറയാൻ തോന്നും പക്ഷെ ജെന്വൻലി ഐ ലൈക്ക് സ്റ്റഡി യു വർക്ക് ഹാർഡ് യു വിൽ ഗെറ്റ് ഒരു ഫോർമുലയൊന്നും ഉണ്ടെന്ന് എനിക്ക് തോന്നുന്നില്ല ബട്ട് സംതിങ് യു ഷുഡ് ഓൾസോ നോ ഇസ് ദാറ്റ് വെദർ യു ആർ അക്കാഡമിക്കലി ഗ്രേറ്റ് ഓർ നോട്ട് ഹാസ് നോ ബെയറിംഗ് ഓൺ
What is the key point of being an entrepreneur?
ദയാവരുത് പഠിച്ച
Is the main basic thing
ആൾക്കാരുടെ
that
കോൺടാക്ട്
one-
we have our WhatsApp group ഒക്കെ
and also
അതിലെ
is being an investor on a new idea is
ഏറ്റവും
also
കുറവ്
being the
മാർക്കറ്റ് ചെയ്യാൻ ഏറ്റവും കുറവ് സക്സസ്ഫുൾ അങ്ങനെയൊന്നും
Let me answer the second one. Being an investor, if you asking me if you can be an investor, you can. If you have like 100 crore to put aside, if your dad is going to give you 100 crore, then you can be an investor. Because investment is exactly the other side of it, right? What they do is they invest in 10 companies and they know only 2 or 3 succeed. So they are willing to let go of the other 7 which fail. They make enough money on the 2 that succeed. Right? So I know a guy, for example, who invested 50 lakhs in Ola when Ola started. That 50 crore, 50 lakhs is worth 500 crores. So he might have done like 10 other investments just failed, which is okay. So to answer your question, investment, yes, if your dad is rich, for sure, right? What is one thing, like I said, the only thing is if you feel this saying that like it's not make it
You can approach Kerala
it means you are risk taking, it means you go for it, you have a good idea, go for it.
business plan together.
There is nothing like a one characteristics that you define.
The other route is there are incubation centers. If you study in NIT, for example, NIT has an excellent incubation center. So they will give you all the advice on how to start.
you
There
don't
are
have
many
to
incubation
ask
centers across Kerala.
So,
So
what will happen?
I would say either approaching a startup mission
start
or an
losing money
incubation
and
center, but
what
with
you
a
have to
clear
ask
idea of what is the idea and how what
Yes,
want
you
do.
have to. That
So once you have that
when I
clarity,
said you don't have to
communication.
answer to everybody
But if
or
you
anybody,
basically say that, okay,
when
Indian
put
cycle
it
that
in
is shout out the
like,
cycle
for example, if you go to a company,
and in the chance that nobody
there is a manager who will tell you in the morning that you
okay, cycle anything working.
right? There is somebody else who will give you weekly tasks, there is somebody else who will give you
approximately
investors will come check with you only once in like 3 months.
basic idea you need to have
You have
a
more time than that, right?
After that,
And every month you give them what is the money
and I
that
can give you more details or
Profit
about
or
it if you
loss.
want. I mean, there are like
To that extent, yes, you are answerable, but not on a
And,
daily
my
basis
request
and
is
not
that
on what
people
to make an
invested,
investor tell you like, okay, you should expand. We have like 14 outlets, for example. A 15th outlet where I should start.
They can actually give like very practical.
Investor is not going to tell you, it's my job, right? Investor is just going to ask how much money you
That
have.
was the last question.
So yes, to that extent, you are
Any more
answerable.
questions you have? I leave my email ID, phone number. Please feel free to call me or email me anytime.
Sir, as you said,
Thank you. Thank you all.
completely different,
Sir, which
their parents will be expecting and share in their family, and you have completely crossed the expectation of them, and how will you succeed if they regret so that later, or how did you show that you will success in life?
So again, I can talk only for myself.
As a token of
I was
gratitude,
blessed
we would
to be
like
in
to
a
present
family
a memento
who,
to our
I
dear
think after
resource
6th or
person
7th,
of the
never
day.
ever asked me, have you studied?
May I invite
What are you
Mrs.
studying?
Jyoti P,
Where are you
our dear
going?
principal,
What course
to
you want
hand
to do?
over the memento
They
and
don't-
Mr. Javed to receive
And honestly,
the
I've
same.
never let them down. I was always doing well in academics, and they were okay with it. So for them, they want me to have a good life. That I'm doing. Never ever told me you take engineering.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, sir.
Do what you want to do. They obviously
May
told
I
me,
call upon
like the
Minha
other side,
Malik
right?
of
They told
grade
me
10
not to cheat
to propose
anybody,
the vote of thanks.
not to kill myself working, take care of your body, take care of your health. Never know, never told me about engineering or doctor. Do what you want to do is fine. I mean, that I'm sure is not everyone's
It
plan,
is
but
said
is
that
mine.
gratitude is not only the greatest of virtues, but parents of all the others. It's an honor to have been asked to offer vote of thanks on this occasion of
Most of the
conversation
entrepreneurs
in
are
our
starting
school.
their business after this
On behalf
professional
of my
courses.
friends,
So, like
teachers,
Asad,
and
Mukund,
school
and FC.
management
So,
group here,
what's your
I
opinion on
express
that?
my immense gratitude to the patron for sharing their graceful words
A
with
lot
us
of
in today's session.
entrepreneurs don't even complete
We
college.
have been fortunate to have
So,
a renowned
I don't think there is
identity
any-
that is our chief
See,
guest, Javed,
that said,
who is the
I
founder of
understand our
Beautiful
context, right? We are
India's
still in
first
Kerala,
exclusive
we are in
sugar-free
Malabar,
chain
we
of
understand the
coffee.
conservatism of the family.
I'm very thankful
So
to the
if you
entire
want to be,
participants as
like,
well as
just
the
to be a
organizers
little bit
of this
safer, you
session.
want to do an
Thank you.
engineering or medicine, go for it. Right? Honestly, it neither helps nor prevents you from being a good entrepreneur.
Thank you,
Engineering
Mr.
for sure won't
Javed
help
and
medicine.
Father,
If you are starting
on
a
the
medical
topic,
company, may help.
giving
I
on
don't
the
think so.
topic,
I think if you want to be an
entrepreneurship,
entrepreneur,
which
you want to be an
definitely
entrepreneur.
will
At some
help
point,
our
you might
students
want
to
to do
decide
some
their
courses
choice.
of an MBA. It will help
And
you how
you
to
have
understand
proved that
management,
absence
how
of
to do
sugar
marketing,
will
etc.
never
But again,
make
not
the
a
life
structured
bitter.
2-year MBA. You just need to do some
Thank you
basic
all once
courses.
again.
Right away, if you can do
Here
it.
we discuss. Thank you all.
But yes, I mean, from your familial scenario, if there is pressure to do an engineering and medicine, do it and then come to entrepreneurship. But the answer is no. I mean, there are plenty of entrepreneurs who never even completed school and have gone on to become like great entrepreneurs.
More than a question, it's a term. So it's like when we start up a company and we need investing, in your opinion, which is better, taking an equity share or advance share? Equity share or advance share? Like, yeah. The advance. No, the share in which there is like a we have a, as per a contract, we have to give a share, specific amount of share, and also an amount for every business.
There are 2-3 models in which investors give you money, right? One is debt, which is like a loan, which says that you have to pay the money back at a certain time period, at a certain interest rate. They pay you 100 rupees. After 2 years, you have to pay back 150 rupees, which is your straight interest. Most investment works on equity. So you pay, they give you 1 crore rupees, you give them 10% of the company, for example, right? Then there are convertibles, which I think is what you may be asking. So what they do is they will give you a loan, okay, but they have an option to convert it to equity if they want to. Now, which is good, obviously, in pure equities. So if you think your company is being correctly valued, then equity is better. If you think the company is not correctly valued and if they're undervaluing it, then debt is better, because you know that you give equity, your company is more value than that, right? But generally speaking, don't take debt when you're starting off, because a new business takes time to make money. It takes 3 years, 4 years, 5 years to make money. The bank will not wait for your business to become profitable. So they will ask money every month. If you're not able to pay that money, your business goes down. Right? So always better to take equity, but provided the investor is valuing your company right.
We are running short of time, so we can have maximum of 1 or 2 questions more.
Yeah. Sir, academically successful.
Endil successful ആണെന്ന്? Academically, I was very good at academics. അതിപ്പോൾ ഞാനൊരു വലിയ തള്ളലില്ലാതെ തന്നെ എനിക്ക് പറയാൻ പറ്റും. പക്ഷേ the thing is, അതിനൊരു ഗോൾഡൻ ഫോർമുല ഒന്നും എനിക്കറിയില്ല. എങ്ങനെയാ നിങ്ങൾ പഠിത്തത്തിൽ ഫസ്റ്റ് ആവുന്ന ചോദിച്ചാൽ എനിക്കറിയില്ല. I was generally good at studies. I used to do my lessons daily. And I really wanted it actually. അത്രേ പറയാൻ പറ്റുള്ളൂ. ഇപ്പോൾ NIT because I really burnt midnight oil to get a good rank in engineering, right? So you work hard, you enjoy, and I always enjoyed studying. I've never been like bored of studying. ഇതൊരു എന്താ പറയുക, ഞാൻ പറയുമ്പോൾ നിങ്ങൾക്കൊരു ഈവൻ വെറുതെ പറയാൻ തോന്നും, പക്ഷെ genuinely I like studying. So I studied and you work hard, you will get it. ഒരു ഫോർമുല ഒന്നും ഉണ്ടെന്ന് എനിക്ക് തോന്നുന്നില്ല. But something you should also know is that whether you are academically great or not has no bearing on your future life. This is something you should know. ഇപ്പോൾ ദയാപുരത്ത് പഠിച്ച എൻ്റെ കോഴ്സിൽ പഠിച്ച ആൾക്കാരുടെ ഫോട്ടോ എടുത്തു കഴിഞ്ഞിട്ടുണ്ടെങ്കിൽ വി ഹാവ് അവർ വാട്സ്ആപ്പ് ഗ്രൂപ്പ് ഒക്കെ ഉണ്ട് നമുക്ക്. അതിൽ ഏറ്റവും കൂടുതൽ മാർക്ക് കിട്ടിയ ആൾ ഏറ്റവും കൂടുതൽ സക്സസ്ഫുൾ, ഏറ്റവും കുറവ് മാർക്ക് കിട്ടിയ ആൾ ഏറ്റവും കുറവ് സക്സസ്ഫുൾ, അങ്ങനെയൊന്നുമില്ല. സോ ഗിവ് ഇറ്റ് യുവർ ബെസ്റ്റ് ഷോട്ട്. നന്നായിട്ട് പഠിക്കാൻ നോക്കുക. മാർക്ക് കിട്ടിയാൽ നല്ലത്, കിട്ടിയിട്ടില്ലെങ്കിലും യു വിൽ മേക്ക് യുവർ ലൈഫ്. ഇറ്റ്സ് ഓക്കെ.
Sir, if we have an idea, who do we approach with that idea? Like, what's the first step? Brief.
Sure. So if you have an idea, the first thing you should do is to create what is called a business plan. Okay. Now there are different ways of creating a business plan. But the simple way of doing it is to basically know, okay, what is my plan of making this idea successful? Okay, which means that I'll need so much money. I will need to put together a small plant factory. These are the people I will sell to, etc., etc. If you have a brief business plan, there are 2-3 routes you can take. If Kerala there is a Kerala Startup Mission. You can approach Kerala Startup Mission. They will help you put that business plan together and also put you in touch with investors. So you can talk to investors. The other route is there are incubation centers. If you study in NIT, for example, NIT has an excellent incubation center. So they will give you all the advice on how to start. There are many incubation centers across Kerala, by the way. So I would say either approaching a startup mission or an incubation center, but with a clear idea of what is the idea and what you want to do with it. So once you have that clarity of thought, somebody can help you. But if you just generally say that, okay, എനിക്കൊരു സൈക്കിൾ ഉണ്ടാക്കാൻ, ചവിട്ടാത്ത സൈക്കിൾ ഉണ്ടാക്കാൻ ആഗ്രഹമുണ്ട്, അതിനെന്താ ചെയ്യുന്നത് വെച്ചാൽ nobody will help you. You need to have an idea, okay, ഈ സൈക്കിൾ എങ്ങനെയായിരിക്കും വർക്ക് ചെയ്യുന്നത്, ഇതിന്റെ ടെക്നോളജി എന്തായിരിക്കും, ഓക്കെ, ഇതിൽ എത്ര കാശ് ഞാൻ അപ്രോക്സിമേറ്റ്ലി ഇൻവെസ്റ്റ് ചെയ്യേണ്ടി വരും, ഞാൻ എങ്ങനെയാണ് വെക്കുക. So basic idea you need to have about the business. After that, there are enough people to help you. And I can give you a more detailed answer about it if you want. I mean, there are like agencies with their emails and phone numbers and all that. And my request is, if there are enough people interested, you might even want to invite somebody from Kerala Startup Mission. They are very happy to come and give such lectures. They can actually give like very practical views on where to get it done.
Hope that was the last question.
By the way, any more questions you have, I'll leave my email ID, phone number. Please feel free to call me or email me anytime. Thank you. Thank you all.
Thank you so much, sir, for clarifying the queries of our students. And thank you, students, for feeling free to ask your questions. A special mention to you, sir, for sharing your experience and thoughts in a very humble and direct and entertaining way. As a token of gratitude, we would like to present a memento to our dear resource person of the day. May I invite Mrs. Jyoti P., our dear principal, to hand over the memento and Mr. Javed to receive the same. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, sir. May I call upon Minha Malik of grade 10 to propose the vote of thanks.
It is said that gratitude is not only the greatest of virtues, but the parents of all the others. It's an honor to have been asked to offer vote of thanks on this occasion of alumni conversation in our school. On behalf of my friends, teachers, and school management group here, I express my immense gratitude to the patron for sharing their graceful words with us in today's session. We have been fortunate to have a renowned identity that is our chief guest, Javed Kadir, who is the founder of Zuga Foods, India's first exclusive sugar-free chains of coffee. I'm very thankful to the entire participants as well as the organizers of this session. Thank you.